All right, let's talk about it. I know what you're thinking. I got some new sunglasses. It's not that big a deal. Who hasn't seen sunglasses before? Good morning, everybody. It's Jack from Atlantis Water Gardens. Today we're in Millburn, New Jersey. We are going to be doing a major renovation on this pond waterfall. This pond has been here for a number of years and it's starting to kind of show its age. We've got the edge over here, which is kind of disheveled and falling apart. That waterfall over there is not really functioning anymore. And we've got some other edging issues that we're going to be addressing. The fish that are in here are monsters and they're a little bit too big for this size pond. So we're going to remove these fish, find them some new homes, and he's going to be putting some smaller fish back in. With the new waterfall renovation, we want to see more of this from the house, the hot tub, and the patio area. So to achieve that, we're going to take and move the whole thing out here into the garden. We're going to remove this entire landscape here and start the waterfall up there, getting some really cool cascades coming down this side, a little stream going here, and then it's going to return back into the pond on this side, way more visible than what it is now. With the existing waterfall, you can see we've got a bunch of liners sticking out and there's some weird overlap situation happening here. It's cut kind of short on this side, so they've always been pulling it up to try and contain the water, and the same situation here in this pooling area. You can see they've kind of stuck some rocks behind it to prop this up, but the liner is just too short for it to work properly. And they've got an old style filter falls or something's tucked in back there. We're going to be replacing that with a 6,000 biofalls. It's going to filter this pond pretty nicely. This is where the new waterfall is going to start, and it's going to be coming down this way instead of going back behind where really nobody can see it unless they're sitting in the hot tub. Bringing it out this way, it's going to be way more interactive than what it is right now. We do a ton of these kind of projects where we're just renovating existing waterfalls because somebody lives with it for a long time. The pond's actually okay, but the waterfall's seen its better days. The transformation that's going to happen here is going to be night and day, I promise you. Let's get started. The whole top edge of the pond has been removed. We've got to do a lot of work with recutting shelves because the way the pond was structured, it was kind of just sloped in. Wasn't really great for stability. The rocks were falling into the pond. We're going to fix all that. Along this edge, it was just kind of sloping in. The rocks were propped up along here and they were actually starting to fall into the pond. That whole section there just completely collapsed. This is the spot where our new waterfall will be entering. So again here, cutting shelves, making a nice stable platform for our large frame rocks. Then from there we can cut into the earth and start shaping our streams. We're going to start with our 6,000 biofalls up top. Talking with the customer, he mentioned there are a lot of chipmunks here. So we're going to get some concrete cloth and install that as a rodent barrier. I'll show you guys that in a little bit. Welcome to day 2. All right, let's talk about it. I know what you're thinking. I got some new sunglasses. It's not that big a deal. Who hasn't seen sunglasses before? We got Bolivar over here. He's hooking up our brand new skimmer. That's going to be great over there. We actually pulled it in a little bit so we can get the liner up without having to do a seam. So that's going to be tightened up there. Right now, Anthony and I are going to get started on setting some rocks for our waterfall. And I'm actually going to start with this round one here. It's going to be setting the outside turn on the peninsula. And then from there, we'll start coming into where our waterfall is. It looks like we might have some rain coming in today, so we got to get moving. Here we've got our pond. Here is the pond liner coming up onto our excavation where our stream is starting. Our water level is about 7 inches below that, so we've got plenty of room for an overlap. Now we're going to take our stream liner, we're going to tuck it in over the top of our pond liner, then we'll pull it back and backfill against it, essentially locking it in place. We'll have plenty of overlap coming from our stream down into the pond, and our pond liner coming up underneath it. It's going to make it nice and watertight. Once that liner goes in, then we can start creating our stream section coming out of the pond here. We'll have a waterfall that's going to be coming this way into that stream, and then we can go on up the hill to where our biofalls is. Where our biofalls is going to be, I guess. Not there yet. Okay, let's build. We had the rain move in on us yesterday. Kind of rained us out at the end of the day, but we still got a lot accomplished. We started setting the rocks inside our first drop of the waterfall. This is where it's going to be coming into the pond. I want water mostly spilling off of this, but it's also going to make its way here and drop in. We've got a 5,000 to 9,000 SLD pump, which should put out a really nice amount of water. That's going to be a nice dramatic fall coming into the pond. From there, it goes back into our stream. I really like these rocks over here because it gives it that cavern type feel where you can walk right up to the edge and you're looking down about a foot or so into that streaming water coming around the side. I'm going to use this rock on the angle to kind of send the water off like this. I'm probably going to put something else this way that it kind of bounces off of, getting some white water. And then from there, we're going to create our second stream section going back to our main waterfall coming out of our biofalls. Our plumbing is being installed now. That's going to go up to the top. We're using 3-inch flex PVC. You see that right there. That's going to feed our biofalls filter. Our goal today is to get most of these frame rocks set in this waterfall section so that tomorrow we can hopefully finish this and fire it up. Show you guys what we got going on so far with this waterfall. This drop I love. We're gonna have something else framing there slightly higher than the spill rock that's just gonna contain that, so we'll get water coming off of that as well as running around the side, doing something that we do quite a bit, which is bring another waterfall out in front of the main cascade. And the way I pinch these two rocks together, it's gonna land inside there, really build up, get pretty thick, and then blast out of there. So we're gonna get a lot of water backed up and then spread out in here, so we'll get a lot of fast moving water to slow down before it heads off down into the pond. All right guys, this is the concrete cloth that we're using. We're getting it in around all the edges right down to the bottom of the rock because the rodents usually come in sideways and they'll chew holes in the sides of the liner and especially behind the waterfall. So when we have our overlaps or a drop, we're going to have concrete cloth underneath all that. So before we do our overlap up top there, we're going to layer that whole thing with concrete cloth. This stuff is heavy duty. See how thick it is? This is cloth infused with concrete. When it gets wet, it's going to harden just like concrete would. and it's going to prevent anything from going through it. So it's super good stuff. It is expensive, but it is so worth it.
Awesome. Wow. How's it sound, girls?
It looks really good. Oh my god.
Beautiful.
Aww.
You'll be able to put your feet in the water over here.
I love how the waterfall like goes in the front and you can see it from inside.
For me, I think it's probably that like we'll be able to like interact with it a little bit more. Now there's an area for me to put my fairy garden.
This is absolutely more than I envisioned. Great job. Fantastic.
All right, you guys are always on me in the comments about wanting to see these ponds at night. We're doing that tonight. Let's walk around. I'm gonna show you some of my favorite parts of this renovation. First of all, let's start with the pond. This used to kind of drop off on the side and it was really unfinished, liner sticking up. Wasn't looking all that great against the hot tub. We fixed all that. We took out that old Savio skimmer that wasn't working too well, put in a new Signature 1000 Aquascape Skimmer, and we cleaned up the whole top edge of the pond. That rock there used to be teetering on top of the pond, almost ready to fall in. We went ahead and sunk that in, fixed all the rockwork inside here, and then of course we've got this amazing waterfall transformation. Where it enters the pond, you've got those big boulders now flanking that waterfall. I was able to get some water coming around this side and actually dropping off that frame rock. I really like doing that when I can keep that frame rock as low as possible and still utilize it as a waterfall. From there, we're turning up around the bend. Check out that beach. Those cobbles coming right down into there. And you got the stream that feeds this pooling area. The water's running right off of this rock, even feeding that rock there a little bit before it goes down into the pond. We've got some more of that edge treatment up here with the riprap beaching down into the pond. I like doing that kind of stuff where it's a nice transition down into the water. And then up here you've got the money shot. This waterfall right next to this really cool pavilion. That's the first thing you see when you walk into this backyard or from all the windows in the house. If you remember when we were building this, I showed you guys how we pinched that down so we could build the volume up and have it come flowing out of there pretty quickly. And then it slows down in the stream, spreads out, and then goes down to the bottom. Over here, we were able to get that water around the side, set this rock so it was pitched in slightly so we got that secondary waterfall falling in front of the main cascade. Up top, that 6,000 biofalls that's filtering this pond has completely disappeared. Once this landscape starts to take hold, you will not see any remnants of that whatsoever. It just looks like water springing out of the ground, coming down through the landscape. I don't know what we could have done to make this transformation any more spectacular. I'm sure you're gonna let me know down in the comments. I want to hear from you. What do you think? How do we do? Hit that subscribe button, drop me a like, and I'll see you guys on the next one.